Okay, so last time we have made uh, e-commerce site. We have started making e-commerce site, and we have used some linking in the Next.js. Like here, we have used the links, and here I have created the components for dashboard and home. So this is the route group. So this is loading.js file I have used, I think, in the home component, right? Okay, so I have used it in the home component, right? Right, so that was inside the routing category. There was error handling. Okay, so now I will learn about server actions. So that was a very big topic in the Next.js 14. So these are server actions, right? Hmm. We can do server mutations with Next.js convention. Server actions can be defined in two places: inside the component that uses it, server components only, or components for reusability. If you want to reuse it in multiple places, you can do that. Server components. First, I will try with server components. Create a server action by defining asynchronous function. We have to first define asynchronous function with the use server. Okay. Okay. First, I will try it in the server component. Uh, okay. So let's try it in the home, or I can use it in the dashboard. Let's try it in the dashboard page, right? So here, what they are saying that you have to use async function inside this. Okay, async function. Let let it call my action. All right. So this asynchronous function I've created here. I want to also use the string use server because I want to use the server in this function. Then after that, what? Serializable. It should have serializable return value. So what's that? Network or storage. I think I have to take the help of part to actually give me an example of server action in Next.js. Right? I think I have to let's return some like data like name, John. So how can I use it? How to use server actions with Next.js? Okay. They have given a proper example of client and also So what they are used for, like Next integrates with React actions to provide a built-in solution for server mutations. Server actions, okay, server actions. Let me just Server actions in Next.js are a powerful feature that allows you to execute JavaScript functions on the server in response to user interactions on the client. This enables you to perform server-side operations such as data fetching, data mutations from submissions, data fetching, data mutations without having to manually create API endpoints. Okay, this has not given me the example. I wanted an example. Okay, please explain with the example. Defining server. There are two primary ways to invoke server actions. Okay, that was I was looking for. How to invoke the server actions. Using an action prop of form. This is a one method. Form execute a server action as a part of form submission process. Using the form action prop of button or input type submit or input type which element. Okay, let's try this input type submit. Uh, Here I have used input type submit. Action submit. Okay. So here form action. Uh, my action. Will it work? Hmm. Okay, let's see the example it has given. Server action. Okay, it has given with the example of a Mongo client. I'm not going to use Mongo here. So let me use it with the form, right? Hmm. Okay, these server, where is the server connections? Hmm. So hmm. Let's try it with the form, right? Form. With the form, I have to use it. First, I have to use the label. like name, type text, it has given me some really weird example. Hmm. Let's remove the dashboard for now. We just want to know about the server actions, what they do, right? So there must be data when I submit the form. There must be some data that will be entered into this action, right? So here they are saying that we can use it with the action proper form. So action, my action. I have to also use the input type submit, right? If I enter John and then submit, will it like show me something? Okay, I have submitted the form data. It is showing me the form data. Hmm. Okay, server actions are a little bit weird, I would say. Now it has created server actions. It has first imported use server from next server. Then if not throw an error, if not name or not create user, where it has used create user. Okay, it has used client components. Okay, let's also try to do it with the client component. In the app, I have to create a file actions.js, right? First we have to use server at the top, then export async my action. So inside this my action, I will just console is it working. I will console is it working. So let's use it in the home component. Right, we will first import my action from actions. Right, so okay, they have used the form of type. Okay, let's try it. I've used the form here. If I click on this, what is happening? Okay, it is printing. Is it working? So on the click of that thing, so we can say that we have to use the form, and then in the action attribute of form we have to use actions, and the actions can be inside some another file. Right, so let's try to put some like name, type text, then let's try to submit something, and I will console login this and check if it is showing some data inside this. Is it working? I will show the data here in the console log. Then I will go to our home page, then I enter add to cart. Is it working? Then there is a form data. When using a top level use server directive, all exports below will be considered server actions. Okay. Okay, so when we use server directive, all the exports below will be considered server actions. You can have multiple server actions in a single file. Yeah. Props, in case you might want to pass down a server action to a client component as a prop. Okay, you can also pass server action as a prop. Okay, this is the one method. Then form action is another method. It's for allow handling button input type submit in a form. Okay, so this is a little bit complicated topic, right? Progressive enhancement allows a form to function properly without JavaScript or without JavaScript disabled. This allows user to interact with the form and submit data even if the JavaScript for form has not been loaded yet or if it fails to load. React actions or server client support progressive enhancement using one of the two strategies. If the server action is passed directly to form, the form is interactive even if JavaScript is disabled. Okay. If a client action is passed to a form, the form is still interactive. But the action will be placed in a queue until the form has hydrated. React prioritizes the action so it still happens quickly. Form is interactive before hydration occurs. Although server actions have additional value to not relying on client JavaScript, you can still compose additional behavior with client actions where desired without sacrificing interactivity. The maximum size is 1 MB. You can also set the body size limit in the next config. Okay. They have in this page forms and mutations. They have again explained how the server actions work. Okay, forms with loading. Okay. What we have not covered, I think data fetching I have covered. Okay, now learn about forms and mutations. So, form with loading and error states. Let's see. Okay, in this example, they have used Versal Postgres. Hmm. How server actions work? With server actions, you do not need to manually create API endpoints. Instead, you define a synchronous server functions that can be called directly from your components. Okay. Server action defined a server component called defining the action in a server component allows the form to function without JavaScript, providing progressive enhancement. Forms calling server action server components can function without. Okay, calling you will give submissions if Java reject reporting. There are so many concepts like revalidation, uh, ISR. It's like incremental static rendering. I don't know. Server only forms. Let's use the JavaScript here. Home data. Create a server only form. Define the server action in server action. So if it is only server in only server component, this is called server only form. Integrate data, revalidated cache, validated data, server action will to invalidate the Next.js cache on demand. can evaluate an entire route segment with revalidate path. Or invalidate a specific data fetch with a cache tag using revalidate tag. Hmm. Okay, import redirect from next navigation, revalidate tag from next cache. So there are so many concepts. I think it will take me some time if I have to cover all this concept from scratch. Yes, it will take time. It will take time. Yes. I mean, they have given the examples like from like some very basic examples. With these examples, I could not do anything like concurrent. So, okay. I think I should create a new video about this. Like, what are the server actions? This is so like forms and mutations. This whole new video can be created on this topic. Reading cookies. So let's talk about the rendering, the server components. So here they have talk about the benefits like data fetching, server closer, so closer to data source. They can improve the performance, security. Tokens and API keys can be in the server. Don't need to send that data on the client, so there is a security benefit there. Caching, by rendering on server, the result can be cached and reused on subsequent requests and across users. This can improve performance and reduce cost by reducing the amount of rendering and data fetching done on each request. Bundle size is also very small because we do not have to send the extra JavaScript on the client initial page load. Yes, of course, because you will just generate the HTML and the users can view it immediately without waiting for client to download and parse. Search engine optimization, of course, HTML is rendered on server, so bots can index your page. Streaming server components allow you to split the rendering work into chunks and stream them to client as they become ready. Okay, using server components in Next.js. By default, Next.js uses server component. This allows you to automatically implement server rendering with no additional configuration, and you can opt into client using when needed. It has like explained how they are rendered, server rendering strategies, static rendering, dynamic rendering. So there are multiple rendering strategies for server components. By default, everything we define in our components is a static. Let me just add some more component. Form. Let's rename it forms. Right. So inside this, write page.js file, and then we can do the same thing here. I do not need this inside this. So forms again. Uh, So by default, any new component you made is a server component. So that's what it is saying. By default, it is static rendering. That means routes are rendered at build time. So this is beneficial when you want to create some blocks which do not change over time. Then after that, there is a dynamic rendering. So dynamic rendering, routes are rendered for each route at request time. Okay, so routes are rendered for each user. Okay, so it happens when the data is personalized to the user or has information that can only be known at request time, like cookies or URL search parameters. So during rendering, if you use dynamic function, like dynamic function that only known at request time, such as uses cookies, current request headers, okay, URL search parameters. In Next.js, these dynamic functions are okay. These cookies and headers are dynamic functions. You can let's create a new folder, dynamic functions. Functions. Now, so they're saying you have to import the cookies from next headers. Then after that, I think first we have to set the cookie method that takes a cookie name value and option and set the outgoing request cookie. Okay. So again, you have to use the server actions. So must use setting cookies after streaming starts. So you must choose cooking server action or the route handlers. Right. So have I used route handlers? The APIs. So about route handlers. Let's learn the route handlers. Route handlers are some APIs at endpoints which you can use in clients. Right. Given route. Custom request handlers for given route using request and response APIs. You have to first create the API folder like here. Then you have to create something like a path for the API. Suppose let me create what it should be. Dynamic functions. What it can be in API. Suppose let's see. Okay, just name it dynamic functions. Dynamic data, and inside this we have to create a route.js file, and inside this I think there is we have to use export a async function from this. I have exported async function. You can use any thing in this, like you can use even get, post, put, patch, delete, header options. So there's no problem in that. They can be the same route. So there are some things you have to take care of. We have to return a, I think I can return anything from here, like data, test data. So this is the API we have created, and this API can be API endpoint can be activated, or I can say we can get the data from this API by going through this route. We have used dynamic data. Okay, so what is the route for this API? Okay, so there must be something. Hmm. What is it? Dynamic data. That's what I have put here. Just close it. Dynamic data. Couldn't know how I can. What is the API endpoint I have to use? This is fetching from data node API headers. do I need to use also route? Backend is always like, wait a minute, I have to just for a moment check something real quick. So here I have also created the API. If I say API phone, will it work? Okay, API slash phone, it is working here, but in that, so what could be the problem? This is working real good, but in this it's not working. So new response data, let's try this. Let's try this here. Okay, now it's working. So the problem was we were not returning the correct data type from this get request. Okay, so this is a route handler, right? So you can also, I think, send the JSON from this. Like suppose name John. So let me refresh it. So now it is a JSON data named John. So that is a route handler. So you can use the exact address. You can use the exact address in your client component to use this API endpoint. So you do not need any backend for this. This can be beneficial if you do not want to set up the extra backend for your project. So yeah, for that it's real beneficial. Again, the cookies has come. So setting the cookies, they are saying that you can use it in the route handler. So we can import the cookie from next headers. This is the route handler. So let me set the cookie dot set. This is the most basic use case of cookies function dot set, namely leave. So this is a setting cookie, and then how we can get the cookie. Now in some page of some, this is a dynamic functions page, so let's use a cookie store here. Cookie store, cookies. So let's try to console.log cookie store dot get all. Yes, get all method. So let's go to the dynamic. Hmm. Cookies. There are still no cookies in this. Hmm. I think cookies can be. Okay, this was a cookies. Let's go to the another dynamic function, that is headers. Next is headers. Hmm. Some component will opt the whole route into dynamic rendering at request time. So programming is the thing that is done through learn by doing. So we can only learn by doing the things. What they are saying, it's dynamic rendering. Dynamic rendering, it happens when we use cookies or headers. We use dynamic functions, which are dynamic functions. Also, if you use search params, in client command it will skip static rendering and instead render all client components up to nearest parent suspense boundary on client. So like if you suppose so this was a cookie. If you use search parameters from I have to import it from Next navigation. Also, we have to first use a client component for this. So I think params use, I will use this hook, use search params, and then I can get the required parameter. Suppose like I have used in the address bar, I've used item URL query in the address bar. So params dot get item. Let's display the item here. Now suppose here if I use the URL query here, like I have used item and I have given the name of iPhone, so it will show iPhone because in the code it has searched from the item parameters, item URL parameter specifically. So if we use this, then it will be dynamically rendered. They are recommending to use it in a suspense boundary. This will allow any client component above it to statically rendered. Then comes the streaming. They have not covered much in the streaming section with some examples. So they've given the example like in the sequential streaming, we have to first wait for some root layout to load. Then here in the dashboard layout is loaded. When the root layout is loaded, then after that setting page. So layouts have to wait for its root layout to get loaded into the UI, so it will take some extra time. But in the parallel, each layout will load at the same time, regardless of in in any order it is in the red component tree. So it will take less time than the sequential streaming. So that is the one very big benefit of streaming. So streaming is built into Next.js app router by default. This improves initial page loading performance and or a UI that depends on a slower data fetches that would block rendering the whole route. For example, reviews on a product page. Okay, suppose reviews are loading and then page will wait for the reviews to load. That will be a problem. So that is the main benefit of streaming, right? To use the streaming, we route segments using loading.js UI components with this loading UI and streaming. Okay, here they have covered how we can use the streaming. Okay, I think I should end the stream here, and So thank you whoever watched my stream. Bye bye.